And seriously, go speak to Ali after the show. Backgrounds. Our next storyteller, this is a great intro. Sorry, I ask all the storytellers to give me intros normally. And then she was like, how about this one? I'm like, yes, I like this one. She's a body worker who's taking her hand at the stage. Please welcome Annette Dunlop.
I was walking down the street all casual like. Maybe I would run into him, maybe I wouldn't. I just happened to be in his neck of the woods. And no one could tell just looking at me but that my secret mission was to maybe run into him. He who I'd met through a recent acquaintance. Someone I had a hunch I should have a coffee date with, despite the fact that they seemed utterly incapable of listening to me. A coffee date one can only afford to do when one is living that special, lonely, post-breakup, socially spacious kind of life that allows for such empty encounters. So I was speaking more loudly, less compassionately than I would to a dear friend. I was boldly battling for oratory space, espousing deep astrological insight, completely inaccessible to even the most gracious listener. As I shared the hero's journey that was my LSD trip. In a mode, I must reiterate, I wouldn't impose on an audience I had more love or respect for. In short, charming. It was then that I noticed him, staring up, shyly smiling from the lip of his laptop. The shyness in retrospect appears more like judgment. Generously misconstrued as skeptic curiosity. I also interpreted his flushed face and rosy cheeks as endearing embarrassment, which I now know to be the allergy to his more Dionysian adventures. But I don't know this then, not as I walked down the street, hoping no one could see through my calm posturing into my soul's frenetic desire. And so I told even myself that I was just going through a walk to the park, to and through, past the park to the lake shore where I imagined he may saunter through on occasion. And the fact that I couldn't eat, that I hadn't eaten for days, may have less to do with the lack of sexual release than it did with the complete emotional self-denial. Because if I was to admit to myself what was happening, I would have to acknowledge my walk's ulterior motives, him. I would have to admit that my body has decided I'm in love with a man who I don't really know, who I'm currently quasi-stalking. As I walk down Queen Street, ostensibly to the lake for another manic several-hour tour involving the soundtrack to Much Dance 97. Blasting through huge noise-canceling headphones that amplify my neurotic inner world and cause my ears to sweat with heat, both environmental and emotional. So when I actually see him, catch a glimpse of him walking northeast as I walk west, my heart skips more than a few beats because I haven't even taken like 3 steps towards my supposed destination. And I have to own my true stalkerhood to turn around back on the side street and create a casual run-in. So I have to make like a 180, like bigger, like 225. Like I should have turned right. It would have been less awkward, but such was the state of things. So I make this hard left, but I'm still playing faux casual. And because I have this problem where I imagine that someone is watching me and like judging me and actually cares what I'm doing, and I have to impress them. In this fantastical process, I have to simultaneously intuit what they think I should be and energetically portray that back to them. Clearly a hang-up from good times in early childhood, but as a fun corollary, I find it very relieving to realize that I'm of no importance to any group to be actually watched. For example, I can watch any kind of porn on my iPod mini, and when I think to myself, should I put masking tape on the camera lens, I reassure myself that nobody cares, that a 30-something-year-old woman is into hentai, it's fine. And this pointed obscurity is more effective than the heaviest anti-anxiety meds out there. Serotonin's got nothing on my anonymity, which is why I love Toronto. That's why it's terrifying when communities get smaller. I'm also the person person who, like, halfway crossing the street, you realize you're going the wrong way, I can't turn around. I have to go to the other side, all the way to the other side, and then I check my phone as if to like glean new information, to construct a narrative for like, what third party it's not clear to me either that I'm like acting for. I just imagine that if I give up halfway crossing the street, you'll know that I'm like bad or wrong, and that I don't know what's going on, because I like really don't know what's going on. I have this like thick existential angst surrounding me at all times, like that Pigpen character from Charlie Brown, who is incessantly pursued by the cloud of detritus. My aura is gray and thick and impermeable to acts of spontaneity. So when I see him, he who I think is like shy and embarrassed, but who's probably hungover and annoyed, it's actually like a Herculean labor for me to turn around and slyly maneuver all the strangers' glances who don't give a flying fuck what I'm doing, and chase him. I'm kind of proud of myself, actually, in a weird way. Even though I don't know what's going to happen next, and clearly far too much anticipation is building for any normal adult conversation to ensue. But before I can think of the answer, like, he's diving down a side street, and I have to lose the faux casual attitude and sprint up Claremont to Robinson, past the firefighters shooting me no doubt completely apathetic glances, and then I see him, and I immediately regain my calm posture, and I can't, he's too far to yell at, and I notice him floating down the street, but he has more tension in his shoulders and his ass than I had noticed, because I obviously haven't seen him move before, which endears me to him even more. And he's floating, and I'm sweaty in my dress. I've got no pockets to hold on to my phone or overly long headphone cords, and I'm like, it's either you or your doppelganger. It's my brilliant text. And my heart sinks as I watch him not notice it for 10 meters or so, but then he turns around. In truth, we're standing in front of my apartment by the time we meet up, because I really haven't gone that far. And he tells me he's going to see Tricky from Massive Attack at the Mod Club, and I make some benign pedantic comment about maybe the other guy from Massive Attack possibly spray painting all political-like internationally, which is precisely how I describe Banksy. And he smiles generously, patiently, tells me the light is bouncing off my hair beautifully, and I, wits strong at this point, say, I think you'd look better with no lights on at all. To which he responds, good one. The air is thick with anticlimax. We part ways, and now I have to go hide in my basement apartment for 5 minutes before deciding I do actually need to go for a walk down to the lakefront, blasting more Much Dance 97, aptly featuring the Cardigans' Loveful, as I Google tonight's lineup at the Mod Club.